Hey people, so I'm not the greatest right now, but um, Andy got a message, and I guess actually it was a message to me originally, and I kind of handed it over to Dandy and gone back and forth a bit with them, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, and so I am going to do the same thing now with this video. I'm going to hand it over to Dandy, and Dandy is going to be the one who talk about it. So here we go.
Hey everybody, so I know my hair is looking super hair-like. So it's been a long day, but I wanted to address this while we had energy. Thank you, Master, for holding the phone. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about what this person's name or identity is. They essentially messaged MasterHook asking, was confused about somebody they were involved with that was in BDSM that said that they loved them, but then didn't want to be monogamous and didn't, it was just very confusing and unclear. So I messaged this person back per Master Hook's okay, and I will read what I said, and then this was going to bring up a topic more to talk on the phone, the video about. You can tell I'm tired. So what I said was, I don't know, is my explanation, Master, clear on what the question was?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
I think you're.
About romance, BDSM, are they the same thing? How is it? What kinds of relationships are possible?
It was kind of a about having a MS dynamic, or it was it MS or DS?
No, it was just a casual play thing.
So it was more of a DS style.
If a BDSM man says he loves you but he doesn't want to romance you, what does that mean?
Right, and that's kind of the thing. So go ahead.
Your phone's dying, is it?
Yeah.
So a lot of you, can you move this?
Yeah,
There
yeah,
we go.
yeah.
I don't know if most of you know what being asexual is, for example. So there are people who are considered, they're under the LGBTQ umbrella, and this is important to what you'll get the link in a second. So there are people who are asexual, meaning that they can be romantic, aromantic, meaning they're not romantic, or romantic, and asexual means they are not really into sexuality, doesn't mean they don't have sex. So there are people out there in general, right, that don't have sex or are not romantic. This is a part of people's orientations. This is just a basis here. So then when you get into kink, you can be in a power exchange relationship without a romance. I know this is probably not as common to people, but it does happen and I have experienced it. So I'm going to read you what I wrote about my experience and then answer a little bit more about this topic because it's confusing for some people and this goes into some gender stuff. So this is what's extra fun for me to talk about this. So I said, when I was originally coming into the scene 5 years ago, I ended up in a DS relationship with a much older dominant. Let's call him T for the sake of this conversation. He was much older than me, didn't want kids or a lifelong commitment, but we got along very well. We had developed a friendship and decided to get into a DS dynamic. However, from the very beginning, we clearly negotiated that this would not be romantic or long term. Yes, we did have sex, we did play, we spent a lot of time together. Most people in the vanilla world would have considered we were dating, but for him and I, it was a lovely connection, but it simply wasn't romantic. I did love him as my dominant, and I believed he did me as his submissive. I think it's very possible to have a non-romantic BDSM connection, but it needs to be transparent and negotiated. That is the most important thing that I'm going to say in this video. It's important to communicate with anybody you're getting involved with. And sometimes you don't know what you want. That's part of the important thing about exploring BDSM is having a safe container for exploring. And maybe like when you meet somebody or, if you know, hey, I've been looking, like for me, I was looking for a master and I knew like this is what I'm looking for. But I was still open to other things on the way. Like that's the relationship with this dominant that I had. We were not compatible from being friends and getting to know each other. We were not compatible in a lifelong commitment. He also didn't want the level of DS, MS that I wanted. I wanted him to have more control over my life, and that's when I realized I really wanted MS. But it sounds odd, but like there are people also, for you married people out there that are with a partner that you're not in BDSM with, this does happen quite a lot actually. I'm sure you've seen this, Master, where somebody gets in a BDSM relationship, or they have a DS, usually a DS relationship with someone who's not their spouse, and maybe it's not sexual, maybe it's not romantic, but it's a power exchange, or there's play involved that doesn't involve sex, or does or doesn't involve sex, but it doesn't have to involve romance. And so, getting back to the love piece here, I think you can definitely love people in different ways, right? Do you love your friends? Would you say that that's not loving people? For people who play with people that, even casually, that can be, you can have a love and admiration for people. I would say in the situation that this person's talking about, potentially this person was manipulating her a little bit to play potentially or to get involved in whatever way and wasn't transparent with her. So I think it's very important to try to be as transparent or say, I don't really know where I'm at, especially as a dominant in the person that's topping, because you don't want somebody to have an expectation of you, especially that isn't your truth. So I would say the thing that I would say is in this situation that maybe this guy does want maybe he loves this person in a submissive way. I don't think so because of how long they've been connecting, but that could potentially be something. And how this goes into gender, ha ha ha. I'm not going to be super long because I can see MasterHook like not feeling good over here. But it's interesting because this person brought up that they are a woman and they identify as a woman, and they felt that women are raised to think all about romance and all that. And that's not a lie. That's definitely not a lie. I would say just as men are gendered and raised to be strong and the caretaker and the breadwinner, still even somewhat now, and women are raised to still find a man, right? A lot of roots of marriage, find a man, get married, all that, have kids. You okay over there?
Yeah.
Um, so I would say that I see that somewhat, but I've also, I guess maybe one of the ways that I realized that I was weird is I kind of had trouble being romantic. I would say I am not a romantic. I'm romantic, but it took me a long time to feel like safe to be
Give me the cord.
romantic. And I didn't necessarily want romance with everybody that I played with. Like, as I told you guys, I was in that relationship with somebody where it wasn't romantic. And for me, it was a lot easier to just play with somebody, have a different kind of relationship and not be romantic. But I'm also queer. But, like, my gender is queer. I didn't identify that way at the time, but I'm not saying that everyone has to be open to this, open to a BDSM relationship without romance. I would just say check yourself on what you want. Maybe be open to that experience if you have availability in your relationships in life for that. Yeah, there's just a lot of kinds of connections. Me as a pervert polyist, I'm just like, hey, if I can connect with someone and it's good and it's consensual, then yay. If that's something that we both want. So, is there anything else that you think I should add?
No, I think that's pretty much the chunk of it right now. I think this topic's not as simple as this video. It's going to be
No.
it's going to be very dependent upon you and your situation, and just understand. Be very clear about what it is you're looking for when you get into your relationships. Because if you don't, it could wind up not being what you want. You need to be absolutely clear.
Or clear you're not sure.
Right.
Or I'm exploring, I'm new for people
Exploring
that are
and
new.
new is absolutely acceptable.
I want to try dominating you.
But
I've learned this from a spanking class. Can I try this with you? Negotiate that. I'm interested in pursuing a power exchange dynamic, but I'm new. I don't know. And then, if you have feelings, if you catch feelings in that situation, then you need to communicate that with the person. That's fine. I'm not shaming. I want to be very clear. I'm not shaming people who want romantic DS. We have one. I'm not shaming people who don't. I'm not shaming people who are new. I just think it's really important to try to be as clear as you can with yourself so you can be clear with others. And I just think, it's good to know about the different types of things that exist.
right. So I think that's going to do it now before my phone completely dies.
Poopy.
So that's it for now. You people, be well and safe. Do all that YouTube stuff. See you later. Right, bye.
Bye.